the man that's between them is my father. That's my dad, Bishop R.T. Jones Sr., right there on the program, all right? And to Shaka Fatah, I went to James Elementary School with David, all right? And Senator Williams is not here. I went to Pittsburgh to talk to him for him when he was running for state office many years ago. In the 14th chapter of Matthew, 31st verse, Peter answered and said, if it be thou who biddest me to come to thee on the water, bid me to. And to Archbishop Floyd, her dad and I were good friends and worked together. And when they were down there in the center part of Philadelphia, she was just a little girl. And to the other young man, Elder Goodson rather, been knowing him since he was a teenager. Now, as I look at Mary Mason, Beatrice Elmore, I remember when she lived on Boston Street. Anybody remember that? Boston Street in North Philly. I remember when she used to talk about the Reverend S. Amos Rakim, who was pastor of the Jones Tabernacle Baptist Church, and later on the Philippian Baptist Church. She came along at a time when there were floods all around us, emotional floods, religious floods, gang war floods, all kinds of floods. Now, is she going to be willing to get out of the boat, so to speak, to walk on the water, to take care of those problems, take care of those difficulties? And I'm afraid that she got out of the boat, willing to go down in the flood if necessary to help somebody else. Now, I grew up in a time with, anybody here remember Boston Blackie? Just raise your hand. Not too many hands going up. Boston Blackie used to come on television, and these were the words, that he was a friend of those who had no friends, an enemy of those who made him an enemy. Not only that, he said these words, there are some folks who will shake your hand with one hand and stab you in the back with the other. That was Mary Mason. Friend of folks who really had no friends, understanding that there were people who would shake her hand and then stab her in the back. 1958, I believe it was, when she came to WHAT as a, can I say disc jockey? A woman playing records over the radio. And this went on for several years until the format changed to talk radio. Now, we didn't have many black women at the time leading a talk radio show. So she had to step into that water and lead the way. How do you compare her with Peter? Well, there was a storm all around. Water was everywhere. And they saw Jesus walking on the water. And she saw the Spirit of God. And she said, Lord, if I'm going to be the one, bid me to come to you. Bid me to get out of this playing music and begin to talk to people around the world on the radio. And so now we hear Mornings with Mary. But not only do you hear Mornings with Mary, but we hear the Reverend W.T. Bigelow leading the prayer almost every morning. Ooh, thank God for Jesus. And he would pray until things just got better, did he not? Now, that had to become a part of her. Now, in 1964, on the radio, something happened on what we then called Columbia Avenue. A riot broke out on Columbia Avenue. And she had to deal with that situation. But let me just say something. I've got to hurry up here. Up until maybe the late 50s, early 60s, if you called us black, what would happen? Man, they'd curse you out. We did not want to be called black. And that's the problem with Donald Trump today, with this woman. Now, I'm not going to get into politics. But no, we weren't called black then. We were called colored or Negro. Anybody with me? Amen. But James Brown came out with a song. I'm black and I'm proud. Now, she's got to deal with all of that. Listen, I wasn't going to say this, but I have to say it. Black folks, we are the original folks of the world. I don't care if you read in the Quran or if you read in the Bible, black folks were the first people of the world. The first American was black, Aboriginal, copper tone, black people, and the definition now, descendants of Europe. But we were the first descendants of this land that's called America. Now, she's got to fight all of that. She was able to stand against all the oppositions. Somebody wanted to know, well, why did she support Mayor Rizzo to be the mayor of Philadelphia? Her daddy was the reason for that. Melvin Floyd. But what people didn't know, it was Rizzo who helped some of our pastors who had some problems. It was Rizzo that helped some of our pastors who had some difficulties. It was Rizzo who gave property to some of our churches that they might be able to develop. Rizzo did that, and so he got Mary Mason in the storm to help Frank Rizzo become the mayor of Philadelphia. That was Mary Mason. I'm sure she wanted to run for politics, but her name wasn't Mary Mason. And she couldn't just run under Mary Mason because that was not her name. But her name was Beatrice Elmore. But because it was a supposed name, a stage name, she bore the storm of being a Mary Mason. I remember her son, and I remember the mayor, and I remember how the mayor from time to time would talk to him, deal with him, talk to the mother. But let me get back to where I was. During the years of the riot, Mary Mason played music. But then somewhere around 1970, I believe it was, she began to talk. Had people come from all, in fact, President, what was his name, Lord have Bill Clinton, came to the radio station and talked to Mary Mason on the radio. And so a lot of things got straightened out, and he appointed her to the Fairmount Park Commission. She became a commissioner at the Fairmount Park. I believe the only black woman at the time, commissioner of the Fairmount Park, and I'm getting ready to close. But here is a woman who was able to stand in the midst of the storm of us being black. Y'all not gonna talk to me. Storm of our people and that bill that they turned down, the Philadelphia Plan. Am I allowed to say white unions? The white union felt that it was discriminating against them. But you all been discriminating against us. And now we're trying to make things right. And this is why you have a problem today with the southern border. Simply because you shut the door on my folks who are struggling to get into your union. And so now we got folks coming from the southern border who are doing work that we don't want to do. Who's going to shovel your snow? Who's going to put cement down on your sidewalk? Who's going to put a new roof on your house? And this is why today we're having problems with the southern border, because we didn't listen to the woman out there on the water who was trying to get us to bring things together. Now you clap your hands. You can clap your hands. But she's gone now. Who's going to walk on that water now? Are you going to walk on the water, Archbishop? Are you going to walk on the water, Thea Martin? Do we have some other women who are willing to get out there on the water and let people understand that God is still in control? Do we still have people out there? And I used to listen to the Martin singers when she was on the radio. I used to listen to James Cleveland, Isaac Douglas, and a whole lot of other folks. Music that's down on the inside of me even today. Why? Because of, say her name, or because of Mary Mason. I'm probably who I am today. Now, we had some battles, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to figure out who didn't have some battles. But she stood by her conviction, and my time is gone. But today, we praise the woman who allowed God to lead her through the valley and the shadows of death. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May He smile upon you and give you peace today. Peace, peace, wonderful peace coming down from the Father above. Sweep over my spirit forever, I pray, in the fathomless billows of love. May God bless. I'm going to say one thing, I'm going to sit down. What is a eulogy anyway? Comes from a Greek word, eulogias, simply means good words. Good words. May God bless you.
Oh, thank you, Bishop. Thank you so much. We don't want to take for granted that everyone knew the God that Mary Mason knew. For there was